Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Ever Arias. I'm a second year internal medicine resident, and I wanted to take the time today to discuss a couple of things for a lot of the applicants who are applying to residency. So the soon graduating medical students on their fourth year. It's a January right now, so a lot of you guys are finishing up your interviews, are ready to submit that rank list. So now that I've gone through the process, I've interviewed, I've matched into my top choice residency program in internal medicine, and I wanted to kind of give you guys how I decided to rank my list, and I also want to give you guys some information about what I would suggest after you do match, in terms of what to do to get ready for residency. So there's a couple things that obviously we all know, as a graduating medical student, you rank the program based on many different factors, and I think it's important that when you're done interviewing, each day that you're done interviewing, journal exactly what you liked about the program, what you did and did not like, many interesting facts that you thought were relevant, but really what helped me the most, and it might not be for everybody, but really it was more about the culture of the program. Internal medicine, at least, is pretty much similar in terms of academic rigor, but really what was different amongst all programs I interviewed was the culture of the program itself. How was the program director, how were the residents, and how were the medical students even in that program. That will give you a glimpse into really what the culture is in general, in the feel, and you do get that gut feeling sometimes of, wow, I really enjoyed that program because of the way the resident spoke to me, or the program director was. Listen to that, and I listened to that when I was applying, and I'm glad I did, because I ended up at a program that I really enjoyed. So that's something that I would suggest for you all. The other thing is, speak to the residents. When you're interviewing, you actually have time to speak with the residents during lunch hour, and be honest. Tell them that what your concerns are, what the rumors are about a certain program, and see if those are actually true. Don't just assume that those are true based on what you find on the internet. Try to figure it out yourself. And the other advice, most importantly, is enjoy the process. It is stressful, but at the same time, hopefully you only do it once. And you want to look back and have these positive feelings about interviewing, positive feelings about getting to know the program. And in the end of the day, remember that just as much as you want them to pick you, you also want a program that fits what you want. And in the end of the day, it's hard to we forget that a lot. When we're interviewing, there's always something that we think we need to prove. We need to prove our worth. But I'm telling you now, you interviewed, you got that check mark saying, we know you're good. Now we want to make sure that you know that the program is good, that we're good. And that's how you'll know is if the program is really tailoring the date towards you and not trying to make sure that you're the fit for them. And when I interviewed, I felt that a lot in the programs that I ended up ranking very highly, is that they were not there to make sure that I was the right choice for them, but really to make sure that they were the right choice for me. And that really is the biggest and most important thing. And it's hard sometimes to distinguish, but make sure, that's why the notes will be very useful when you go back and you reread your notes, because it'll be very clear which programs do that and which ones don't after you go through a series of interviews. And so with that being said, we'll kind of push forward. This is going to be March now. You got that letter in your hand. You're about to open the envelope. You listened to my advice, and now you know that you ranked it based on, hopefully, factors that you wanted. So obviously culture hopefully is one of them, but also location, a family, and really social demographics. Maybe there's a specific patient population you want to work with, that is only specific to that program, or it's just close to home, or maybe you love the city, downtown area, and that's very important to you. So try to understand what's important. But let's just assume that you made all those choices, and now you're opening the envelope, and you find your first choice. We all celebrate, we all go out, your family and everybody they go out and celebrate with you. But what do you do now after you're done? So the emotions were high at that point. You're gonna realize that now panic is gonna set in. You've matched, you're gonna start realizing, oh man, I'm not ready for residency. Medical school did not prepare me. And that's probably true. Medical school did not prepare you in the way that you think. So medical school did prepare you actually in the manner in how to study and how to be efficient. But you just don't know it yet. And I'll try to take it out by the end of this couple video, make you realize that you do have it within yourself to be able to finish residency as well. So a couple things that I would suggest when you're done with matching and is do not study. And I've heard it, you hear it over and over throughout the residency processes. You should not study, and that's true. At this point in the timeline, you've studied enough. You've taken your step 1, step 2. Really, what I would suggest, instead of studying, dedicate time to knowing what your hobbies are, to going back to your hobbies that you enjoyed maybe before medical school, or maybe during your first 2 years of medical school when you had time. Go back to those. And really understand that those are going to sustain you through residency, because if you don't have a good balance in terms of exercising, meditating, spending time with family, residency is literally going to cripple you. And as harsh as that sounds, it's true. Residency is a tough, it's a completely different journey in itself. As wonderful as it is, it could also take out what's the best in us. And it could just leave us with the worst attitudes, emotions. The only way to protect you from that is really to be able to balance your life, and the way that you always did during medical school is making sure you continue with your habits, make sure you're eating a healthy meal, and meditating. I truly believe that meditation and healthy habits are not only good for the soul, they're also good for the mind, and they're able to kind of help you concentrate when you're in the wards, when you're in the ICU. And I wasn't one to believe in that actually, but it was during residency that I started meditating more. So I'd recommend that. If you don't know how, look up different videos, and I'm sure it'll take time, just trial and error. But that's why I mean that it's better to start it now, when there is going to be the trial and error period, and you have time to do that before residency. Because residency, you won't have much time to experiment with anything. Unfortunate as that sounds, time is very limited. And the other advice I would give is travel. If you have money, and if you will have the time, obviously, as a 4th year just match, you will have time. You might not have the money, but that's okay. There's always different ways of traveling. You don't have to travel across the world, but really explore things that you always wanted to do, because you'll realize that there's more to life than just medicine. And it'll make you realize, it'll give you a glimpse of the bigger picture of the world, really. And it'll give you a better understanding. And I feel that part of the medical training, we were stuck in this bubble of step 1, step 2, step 3, all these clinical rotations, that sometimes we forget to jump out of that bubble, to get out of that medicine bubble, and to take a deep, fresh air and breathe the air that everybody else is breathing, because we realize that the world doesn't revolve around medicine. The world keeps changing, and we need to be able to be flexible with those changes, be able to be flexible with things that are happening within our own family, with our own loved ones. And that's how you become more empathetic towards your patients too, because you realize that the issues that they're dealing with, you're also dealing with as well. So it keeps you grounded. So that's a couple tips that I would recommend. I wanted to make this video very short, and I'll make more videos talking about what the tips I would give for residents, first year residents, as well as medical students in the next coming videos. Thank you guys for watching. Again, my name is Evan Arias. Follow me on Instagram at the handle you'll see here. I'm looking forward to seeing you follow my channel. Thank you guys. Okay, I'm done.